Hello guys, Raw1 here, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video, and in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, we're going to be doing duels and deck profiles. The second on my channel, we look at decks currently in the game or coming out later on in the game and do a deck profile, show you guys some games, and in general, just look at the deck and see how good it is. And in today's duels and deck profiles, we are going to be looking at the new Splight archetype, which honestly is a really insane archetype for a lot of reasons. One, it is one of the first just purely link 2 / rank 2 / level 2 deck that just is really strong. And another thing is that this deck really does break the game. This deck has a lot of inbuilt consistency, a lot of inbuilt negates, and just in general has a lot of good cards in it that can do so many different things. And this build right here is what I was able to come out with through testing, doing a lot of various testing against different decks, getting some replays, and just in general finding the best ratios for a lot of these cards that I think. And as you might be able to notice, there is actually a frog package in this archetype as well, because honestly the swap frog package in this archetype is absolutely insane. And there are also live twin builds, but I think the swap frog package is the best just because it gives you access to totally awesome, which is just really good cards. So without further ado, let's actually get into the build to show you guys what we're playing and basically tell you why we're playing it. So starting off, we're only playing 10 Splight monsters because I feel like this is the perfect ratio for these Splight monsters. And what ones are we playing? So we're playing 3 Splight Blue. This is basically your consistency card where you go ahead and special summon it if you control a link 2 or rank 2 monster, and then you get to go ahead and search any Splight monster from your deck if it was special summoned. Jet is the same, where it can special summon itself from the hand if you control a level 2 or link 2 monster, but this card, instead of searching a monster, will search a Splight, spell, or trap. So pretty much these are two opposites, where Blue goes ahead and searches monsters and Jet goes ahead and searches spells or traps. Then we go on to the ones that can special summon themselves if you control an Xyz monster that is rank 2, and we go on to first, which is Red, which is pretty much you contribute a rank 2 or level 2 monster, or even link 2 actually, now that I think about it, to go ahead and negate any monster effect your opponent uses. So if your opponent has, say, a Nibiru, or your opponent has an Ash Blossom to try and stop you, you can just go ahead and tribute a rank 2, link 2, or level 2 monster to go ahead and prevent your opponent from using that effect. And also, if you do tribute a rank or link 2 monster, you get to destroy that card as well. So if it's just an effect in hand that would normally not go to graveyard if you just naturally negated it, then it would be very good as well, because you go ahead and neg your opponent a card along with it as well. And then we've got Carrot, that goes ahead and says that you contribute 1 level 2 or link 2 monster or rank 2 monster to go ahead and negate any spell and trap effects that your opponent uses. So pretty much these two, Carrot and Red, get to special summon themselves if you control a link 2 or a level 2 and go ahead and have negates, whereas the consistency cards can special summon themselves if you control a rank 2 or a level 2 as well. So these are the only 10 that I think you should be running in the deck for a lot of reasons. One, the consistency ones are always going to get you to the things that you need to get to, such as the emergency teleport that this deck has, and also monsters to allow you to just go into all of your plays. And 2, you should only play 2 of each of these, just for the fact that they don't really do a lot if you just summon them. They don't give you more consistency. Sure, they give you a negate, which is really nice, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I think I would rather have that consistency in playing 3 of the others, whereas these 2 are only 2 of, just for the fact that they're just negates, which we can search out regardless, and have a lot of consistency cards for them anyway. So we've got our 2 negates with our monster, spell, and trap negate, and we've also got our consistency with the Blue and the Jets, just because having consistency is always better than just having negates, because you want to be able to go into your combos as well. So I like this ratio best of these 10. Going on to other monsters though, we're playing 3 Swap Frog, 2 Dupe Frog, and 1 Ronin Totem. The specific reason for this ratio that I found is on turn 1, you're not going to be able to summon Rodent Totem multiple times to go ahead and make enough for Toad. On turn 1, typically you end on 1 Toad with some other form of negate, so 1 Rodent Totem was the perfect number in my personal opinion while testing. And obviously we're playing 2 dupes just to have that additional frog monster to put in graveyard, and also we can just set it to go ahead and search the Swap Frog. And we're playing 3 Swap Frog because it's obviously the best frog card in the deck, where you just go ahead and normal summon it, you go ahead and send a Rodent Totem to graveyard, and then you can go ahead and special summon it back back from the graveyard with your Splight elf that just goes ahead and allows you to just go ahead and send another card to graveyard and then get a frog in graveyard for running Toad into special summon it to make Toad. Like, honestly, the frog engine in this deck is so strong, and in the replays you'll see how good it is, just for the fact that summon swap frog, says running Toad in, special summon a Splight, and then you get to go ahead and go full combo where you end on like totally awesome with some other monsters as well, which is really, really nice. So I really do like this engine. I think it's the best engine in the deck, and I really do enjoy playing in the deck. Going on to hand traps, we are playing 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Ghost Ogre, and then 2 Veiler with 3 impermanents. Now, I basically am playing this ratio of hand traps because I really just wanted to fill up space, because like one of the things that I found with this deck is really consistent, but when it comes to space, it doesn't have a lot, and I thought, seeing as we can fit up to 11 hand traps in it anyway, what with all these other cards that we're playing as well, why not just put in a ton of hand traps? And I feel like that is actually a good call, because with how consistent this deck is, you don't really need to be playing other cards. You don't really need to be playing cards that draw you, because we're playing the Prosperities. You don't really need to be playing like Small World, because, well, if you are, you're basically gonna screw yourself over sometimes, because you need to get specific attributes. And sure, you go ahead and banish the Ash Blossom to go into, I don't know, the Carrot or the Red, but it's not gonna get you very far outside of that, so I didn't feel like that was needed for more consistency. So I just preferred, like, with the deck being as consistent as it is, play more hand traps, play 11, and the reason we're playing 2 Veiler is because Veiler is the weakest out of these ones, so we're playing 2 of it. You could possibly change it for Nibiru's or things like that, but I like Effect Veiler a lot more just because it can stop a lot more things such as Verti Anaconda and things along those lines. So yeah, but 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, 2 Veiler, 3 Emperor, just a very strong card, and I felt like they were the perfect hand trap lineup. Going on to spells though, we're playing 3 Splight Starter, because this card is essentially E-Telly for the entire deck. You activate, sure you're locked into Link, level, and rank 2 monsters, but you get to special summon any Splight from your deck, take some damage equal to their Splight attack points, and then you get to go ahead and use their effects. So if you special summon Jet, you get to search another spell trap card, or you special summon Blue, go ahead and search Jet or Red or Carrot to go ahead and go to anything you want. This card is basically just emergency teleport for the deck, because it literally is just a quick play, special summon from deck, and it literally has Starter in the name, so it's definitely a starter piece. Going on to other Splight spells, we're playing 1 Smasher. This is generally just, oh yeah, banish a Splight Engrave, go ahead and then banish a Link, rank, or level 2 monster, and 1 card your opponent controls. So the card is very nice. It's just basically an extra removal card. So if you've opened all these other pieces and you want that additional removal, then you just go ahead and add this to hand, set it, you have an additional removal card for your opponent's turn. And the final Splight card we're actually playing in the deck is 1 Splight Gamma Burst. This is pretty much just, oh yeah, I went second, let's go ahead and make all my rank 2, link 2, and level 2 monsters even bigger. And I'll be honest, in testing, this card helped me OTK a lot, and I really do like how this card just can help me get over pretty much any big monster. So card is very decent, and it also has the added effect of where you can banish from the graveyard to then boost any monster you control by 1400 attack anyway. So card is very, very nice. Going on to other cards though, we're playing 3 Prosperity. This is just additional consistency. The edge trick isn't super important, and you can banish a few things without caring, so why not play the card, right? Like, the card is very, very good. 3 Forbidden Droplets, because it's droplets. This card can help us play through so many different decks and so many different boards, so there's really no reason not to play droplets. And 1 Called by the Grave, just to stop some hand traps. Like, honestly, there was the spot there. If we get ashed, we kind of do get screwed a bit, but we can still play through it. So why not just play the 1 Called by, just so you have that out to a lot of different things. Going on to X deck though, we're playing 1 IP Masquerena. Seeing as this deck does lock you into Link 2s, it is nice to have something like IP Masquerena in the deck, just so you can go ahead and link during your opponent's turn. Because if you're locked, you're not really going to be doing anything else. So you make IP Masquerena to get rid of like a Link monster or another monster you control, to go ahead and make like a Nightmare Unicorn or an Appaloosa or something along those lines, just to get additional disruptions. 2 Elf. This card is very, very nice for the fact that it can just go ahead and target any Link 2 or level 2 or rank 2 in your graveyard, well, only Link or rank if your opponent controls a monster, to then special summon it from your graveyard. So essentially this allows you to recur your resources and go ahead and special summon stuff like Blue and Jet during your opponent's turn as well, because it is a quick effect during either player's main phase. You can go ahead and special summon any Link, rank, or level 2. If your opponent controls a monster, it would be a rank or a Link 2. You can't only special summon level 2s if you do not, your opponent does not control a monster, but it's still very, very nice just because it allows you to recur resources and then go from there. And you can also special summon back your IP Masquerena as well, which allows you to go into more Link plays during your opponent's turn, which is pretty nice. 1 Halki Fibrax. Halki Fibrax is here for pretty much the fact of, oh yeah, we just special summon a Splight, and then we go ahead and normal summon Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, anything along those lines, and then just go ahead and go straight up into Access Code Talker. If you're not locked into your Link plays, or you're not locked into level / rank, then you just go ahead and make Access Code Talker, go for OTK and kill your opponent. One Dark just as more revival, more ways to make Unicorn, more ways to make Access Code Talker, pretty much just for that, no other reason really. One Celine, we have the Access Code Talker play in there. It's pretty simple why this is here. You go ahead and use the Hulk summons Veiler, then you summon Veiler back with the Celine. There for that. Nightmare Unicorn, it's there for the IP Mask Arena, as I said. Appaloosa, kind of there for the IP Mask Arena as well, just an additional play. Access Code Talker, OTK piece. And then we go on to Giga Splight, which is actually a really insane card, because you can go ahead and detach any material from this card to go ahead and special summon any level 2 from your deck. So pretty much what this card does is it emergency teleports out Swap Frog, so you're able to then use Swap Frog to send Ronin Toad in, and then you're able to go ahead and make the Elf to summon back Swap Frog, and then you go into Totally Awesome to have the Omni Negate that steals an opponent's card. Card is very, very nice. Card is really insane, and even though it does lock you into Link, rank, and level 2 monsters, the card does do a lot, and it can become really big as well if you do use an extra monster to make it, because you can actually make it with Link 2 monsters as well, which is actually kind of interesting, because that's the first time we've seen an Xyz monster like this that can just go ahead and be like, yeah, that's a Link monster, let's overlay it onto this. Or you could, I believe you can even use a Xyz monster. No, you can't. You can use a Link 2 but not an Xyz monster. But that is actually really cool just to see that they're making Xyz monsters that can be summoned with Links now, which I think is pretty decent. One Sky Cavalry Centura. This is pretty much just so you can make Zeus. There's no other reason here. You can out some monsters with this, but it's generally there for Zeus. Two Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is Totally Awesome. It's an Omni Negate that can recycle your frogs, that can recycle itself, that will then allow you to steal cards your opponent controls by negating them too. It's just a very good card. And then one AA Zeus, because it's Zeus. There's no real reason to explain it. You go ahead and attack your opponent, you then wipe their board with this card. Like, it's a very strong card, a very good card, and it's definitely required in every Xyz deck out there, so we put it in. But guys, this is the deck profile. Honestly, I really like this deck. I really think it's a strong deck, and it does break the meta. In my personal opinion, I feel like when this comes out, it will make waves definitely, so be ready to pick this up. And yeah, Splight is very strong. We've gone over the deck. Now let's go into some games, guys, because this is definitely a tier 1 deck, and I want to show you what it's capable of. So let's go over to the games. Okay, guys, so the first replay that we're actually going to be up against is against Flunderies, and honestly, this is a very strong deck, this format. This deck has a lot of consistency now thanks to getting the new spell card. This deck can do a lot of different things in normal summoning a bunch and then just preventing you from playing the game, and it can also search a lot of different outs to prevent you from playing games such as Apex Avion and Mega Riser as well, and also has access to one of the most broken floodgates, Dimensional Shifter. So let's go ahead and see what this deck does against us and see how well Splight can handle this deck. So let's go ahead and start the replay. So starting off, we are going first. We're going to normal summon our Swap Frog. Opponent chains D Shifter. Now this is very bad for us because we do want to use Swap Frog to go ahead and make Totally Awesome, but it seems that we might not be able to because the D Shifter. So let's see what we go ahead and send to Grave. We go ahead and send the Swap Frog and special summon a Jet, which will allow us to search a spell. We go ahead and search Gamma Burst for some reason, because Gamma Burst will probably give us a boost, but I don't know why we searched it now. So we special summon a red and then we pass. So pretty much this board right now is 2 set cards. The set cards are Smasher, which is just a removal card, and we've also got Starter, which is just a free special summon as well. So let's see what we do with here. And we've also got the obvious red, which is an Omni Negate for monsters. So, well, it's not an Omni Negate, it's just a monster negate. So let's continue on. So our opponent draws the Lightning Storm, destroying all of our back row. We chain Starter to summon Carrot to give us that spell and trap negate, and then our opponent summons Stritch, which will allow him to go ahead and banish and then normal summon. We go ahead and negate that, and he just passes turn. We draw for turn. Now the D Shifter is offline, and we can start playing the game. We start off with Prosperity, banishing 3, revealing the top 3. We reveal a blue, so we're obviously going to take the blue. No, we took the cord by being scared of our opponent's cards. We go ahead and summon Gigantic Splight, special summon blue from the deck, and use blue to search. We're going to get Jet. Jet is going to special summon. We're going to use Jet, go ahead and get Starter. Use Starter, special summon red from deck, and then we go battle phase and use Gamma Burst to OTK our opponent. This is what I'm saying when I say Gamma Burst is a good card. Gamma Burst can just be like, oh yeah, we can put a swarm of monsters on the board and then just go ahead and attack our opponent for game. And obviously we did open the out even though we opened D Shifter, but just showing that you can go ahead and special summon something like red and just with back row as well and still play the game. Even though our opponent lightning stormed us and had D-shifter, we were still able to play this game and still able to have some form of negate thanks to cards like red in this deck that's just a monster negate in general. So first game was pretty good. Honestly, I know it was short and didn't really do much, but who doesn't love seeing Flunders get bad? So yeah, let's go on to the next game. Okay guys, so the next deck that we're actually going to be up against is Sword Soul, the big token spam deck. Let's see how we can perform against it. So we are going to go first in this game, I believe, and we're going to start off by discarding Ronin Toading and special summoning Swap Frog from hand. We use the Swap Frog to send a Swap Frog from deck to grave, and then we're going to go ahead and banish 3, revealing Droplets, Prosperity, and Gamma Burst. We go ahead and add Droplets to have that additional negate for our opponent's turn, then we use Swap Frog to go ahead and return it to gain an additional normal summon for a frog. We then go ahead and use our actual normal summon to summon Swap Frog. Swap Frog will trigger, going ahead and sending a Swap Frog from deck to grave, and we use our additional normal summon to summon Dupe Frog. We then go ahead and summon Gigantic Splight, which will allow us to go ahead and special summon something from the deck. We special summon a blue, which will allow us to search a red, and then we're probably going to special summon the red. Yep, we do. We go ahead and make Elf effect to summon back the Dupe Frog. Interesting choice. And then we use the Rodent Toadin, special summon that back, make a Totally Awesome, and we pass turn. Let's see what our opponent is going to be able to do against this. So we go ahead and use Totally Awesome as well to special summon the other Dupe Frog from the deck, just getting that additional thing on board. He summons Adhara, he go ahead and uses Emergency Teleport, summons Ghost Ogre, makes a Halki Fibrax. We go ahead and negate it. He goes ahead and chains Cosmic Cyclone, probably to just get rid of the droplets to try and play the game. And what are we going to do in response? We go ahead and use Elf, and this is something good that you can actually do in this deck with Totally Awesome and Elf. You can go ahead and use Totally Awesome, tribute it for cost when they have a monster on board, and then use in the same chain use Elf to special summon back to Totally Awesome because they still control a monster, so you have that additional negate. So technically, Toad and Elf is 2 negates, not just 1, which is something really good in this deck and something I really like. So continuing on, all right, we summon back Toad. He goes ahead and banishes our Forbidden Droplets, and then he loses the Hulk. He goes ahead and uses Pot of Desires, summons Ashuna from hand, and then goes ahead and uses Long Yuan. We go ahead and negate it, set the Long Yuan, and he summons a Despot 001 and makes a Tenyi Berserker. He goes ahead and attacks. He doesn't get negated. Why didn't we negate it? Does Toad only negate effect? No, it shouldn't. Negate the activation. I don't know why we didn't negate that. Strange. Okay, we go ahead and use Toad to add Swap Frog back, and then he passes turn then. Interesting to why I didn't negate that. Swap Frog effect, we'll go ahead and, normal Swap Frog, then use Ronin Toadin's effect, to go ahead and summon Ronin Toadin from the graveyard, and then we summon the Long Yuan, go ahead and make Elf. Okay, use Toad, summon the Toad back, we'll use the Toad's effect. No, we're summoning the Toad back. He goes ahead and chains this to go ahead and banish this, but we negate it with red, which will destroy the Tenyi Berserker. And then we go ahead and banish Ronin Toadin again. We'll banish with Ronin Toadin, make a Gigantic Splight, special summon a blue from deck, use blue effect, go ahead and add Jet, special summon Jet, and then Jet will most likely get us Gamma Burst, which is another OTK. So, as you've seen so far, Gamma Burst has won us 2 games, and this as a one-off, in my opinion, is very strong because it allows us to OTK. 2 games we have won with this card, which is just very strong. And yes, we did double Toad. He was only able to end on a Tenyi Berserker, but being able to just do all of this and then just OTK your opponent is very strong. So let's go ahead and go on to the last game now. So the last game that I actually have for you here with the Splight deck is against Branded. Now, Branded is a very strong deck this format as well that can go ahead and basically play going second, play going first. It has a very strong matchup in either. So let's go ahead and see what we can do against a Branded deck if their opponent can play through our board. So let's go ahead and see. So let's start off this replay and see how it goes. So we are going to start with Pot of Prosperity, going ahead and banishing 3, reveal Veiler, Droplets, and blue. So we're probably taking the blue, which we do, and then we normal summon a Carrot. This is the first time we have not drawn Swap Frog, I might add. So we go ahead and normal summon it, and then our opponent Veilers the Carrot. Interesting choice. Maybe he thinks he wants to use a spell or trap effect in hand that could potentially stop him or stop us on our turn, maybe like Imperm or something. But I think you'll just keep the Veiler in that case. So interesting choice doing that there. But we continue on. We go ahead and special summon blue. Blue will go ahead and add Jet to hand, and then we go ahead and special summon Jet. Jet will allow us to get Starter to our hand. Then we use Starter, which will allow us to special summon red, basically getting a monster negate on board already. We're then going to go ahead and use Gigantic Splight, and Gigantic Splight is going to special summon a Swap Frog. Because you can special summon any level 2, you can summon Swap Frog, and that basically allows you to get to Totally Awesome guaranteed. We go ahead and use Swap Frog to send a Rodent Toad into the graveyard. Then we use Elf to summon back the Swap Frog, which will then send the Dupe Frog to the graveyard. Or no, we send another Swap Frog to graveyard. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and make a Totally Awesome. We set 3 cards and pass. So pretty much turn 1, against this branded player, we have set up a double negate with the Totally Awesome. We've sent up a guaranteed monster negate with the red, and we've set 3 random cards that are most likely interrupts, which are Impermanence, Called by the Grave, and also Splight Smasher. All cards that can really hurt the branded deck right now. So let's go ahead and see what we can do, because with just 2 cards, remember, we made a double Omni Negate and a Monster Negate. So this deck is already really insane, just on the standard that we made very, very strong board turn 1. So let's see what our opponent can do against this. So go ahead and play the game, my opponent. We go ahead and use Totally Awesome to summon Dupe Frog from the deck. So we also set up a non-attacking anything else but the Dupe Frog board, which is really good as well. And our opponent starts off with Spriggan's Kit. We go ahead and chain Impermanence, just go ahead and prevent our opponent from searching the Branded Fusion, because honestly, the Branded deck does kind of fall short if they don't have the Branded Fusion. And we go ahead and Impermanent to stop him from getting it. He goes ahead and then goes to Battle Phase and Main Phase 2 for some reason. I don't know, maybe he thought he could attack, but then realized, oh yeah, we have a Dupe Frog. We can't attack anything but that Dupe Frog, sadly. Probably why he went to Battle Phase and then just Main Phase 2, because he just didn't realize it. Maybe he wanted to attack the Elf just so he could get rid of it. But let's continue on. He goes ahead and Monster Reborns the Rodent Toad in. Interesting choice. Maybe he wanted to try and go for a link play like Vertianaconda. But we're going to go ahead and negate with Totally Awesome. And then we're going to chain Elf to summon back the Totally Awesome. Double negate, as I said. We're then going to go ahead and steal the Monster Reborn. Then he's going to use Branded Fusion, but we use the Totally Awesome one more time to negate it. And then we just win because of he can't play the game. Like, what did he have in hand? He had another kit. Okay, so not really anything to do with that. And he's playing Tri-Brigade Mercourier as well. So pretty much, it was kind of sad. He also was going to draw into Nadir's Servant, which could allow him to get the Shadow package and probably maybe have more plays onwards from there. But honestly, just the fact that we have a double negate with Toad, monster negate with red, and even though we drew the Imperm, it wouldn't have mattered with his hand because he couldn't go any further. This deck really did overperform against him and just really ruined him on turn 1. So yeah, guys, that is the Splight deck. Honestly, Splites are very, very strong. They are a very good archetype, this format. They have a lot of consistency. They have a lot of ways to just beat your opponent down. And if you open 2 level 2 monsters, one of them being Splight Blue, or Splight Jet, you're just 9 times out of 10 going to wipe the floor with your opponent. So yeah, guys, that is all I have for this video, though. I hope you really did enjoy it. I know I did. I love this deck. I think it's a really insane deck, and it's definitely a tier 1 deck on release. So if you guys are going to play it, I strongly recommend you do, because let's be honest, setting up a double Omni Negate turn 1 along with a Monster Negate or potential Spell and Trap Negate, you could get Parrot as well if you wanted, and then just having other cards set on the board is very, very strong, or even hand traps in your hand. So yeah, guys, but that's all I have to say for this video. I hope you did enjoy. Tell me your thoughts on Splight in the comment section below. Do you think it's the next Cancer deck? Do you think it's the next level of power creep? I definitely think it's the next level of power creep, definitely, because the fact that this deck just has a load of starting cards, the fact that the deck has built-in Monster Negates and Spell and Trap Negates is very, very strong, and I can honestly see this deck being tier 1 or even tier 0 potentially if it really does do well for a long time to come. So guys, hope you did enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Robot1 signing out. Later all.